Hey guys, what's going on? Matt Weeda with Matt W Fishing. You know, today I want to come on here and kind of make a little bit different video and just kind of show you how I approach Okeechobee. You know, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I've spent a couple days up north of Port St. Lucie hanging out with Nick. Went and fished a little Saturday Extreme on Garcia. That was super tough. The hurricane really changed things up over there. It only took 14 pounds to win. Only had about 9, so it was a tough weekend. But I will say the guiding has been slow, and it's not you know, I do have a couple outlets out there to get found. I have my website, I have some business cards, I'm on the fishingbooker.com app, and I have all kinds of trips available. But the problem is people aren't calling. I mean, I've talked to a lot of guides in this area. I've talked to Cody Davis, talked to my buddy Ricky Martez. I mean, just all kinds of guys. No one's getting calls. Is it the economy? Is it the election? Is it the heat? Is it the infamous slow period for guiding? I think it's all of those. I think the election and the economy is the biggest part, though. I've had a little bit more time on my hands. Might have to start looking for some work doing something else for a little bit, but for right now, kind of weathering out the storm. Might get called for the regional on Santee next weekend. I don't know yet, so kind of waiting that out. If I don't get the call, I'm gonna kind of figure something else out. But I want to get on here and make a video. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like I said, headed to the south end of Okeechobee. Haven't been down there since May, probably. Yeah, I want to say May. So, you know, it's been a couple months. I've missed the whole summertime period down there. So I am kind of going into this a little blind. I just completed the ABA 2-day last weekend. Ended up 3rd. Was able to secure the points title for the ABA for the year. So that's really exciting. Really proud of that. Had a chance to do it a couple years ago, but the 2-day was on Toho, and Toho did me wrong. But I will say last weekend was a typical Matt Weeda no practice tournament. And you know, it's no secret that I go into a lot of these 1-2 day tournaments without practice. That used to be a product of I had to work. And last weekend I planned on getting out there and practicing a day or two. But what happened is I had some trailer issues, and the boat sat at the trailer shop Thursday and Friday, most of the day Friday. By the time I got out, we had to be off the water at 5 o'clock. By the time I got out, I literally had 50 minutes to practice. I threw the boat in at 4, and I had to be heading back at a decent time so I wouldn't get DQ'd. And I had about 45 minutes of practice. Checked one spot, had 3 bites. I think one of them was a bass. Kind of had an idea that there would be fish there. So I just wanted to get a bite or 2 just to get a little bit of confidence going into there on the tournament day. And checked another spot that was good last year. Caught one like 2-pounder there. It was like a little schooling spot. And it didn't materialize in the tournament. Well, that's fine. And literally by the time I ran all that, I was done. So basically, and I would have fished those, and I fished those areas in the tournament anyways. So that was kind of a wasted 45 minutes of practice. It was good to boost a little bit of confidence, but it was for an area that I was going to go to anyways. So, well, that being said, I kind of want to, today's video, I kind of want to shoot how I go into a day on Okeechobee, and then part of the lake that I haven't seen in quite some time. We're going out of the south end. I haven't been down south in 3 or 4 months, and you know, the lake, the waters come up. We just had Hurricane Helene blow by, and while it did not directly affect us, thank God, it did dump a bunch of water on us and north of us, which means we got more water. So lake's at probably about, I haven't checked it, last I checked it was about 15 1/4, which is high, but that's what it does every September, is the water levels come down, and then about August starts creeping back up, and then September comes right back up. And you know, call it what you will, what it is. You know, fishing and the wildlife is not a priority on Lake Okeechobee. Sugarcane, the East Coast, the West Coast, everything else has more priority than the biggest natural lake in the South, and the wildlife and all that. And the quality of the water is not that great. There's still the fishing itself is still good, but unfortunately, you know, Florida's doing what Florida's doing. FWC is just about useless. The Army Corps just about has a big enough part in this as anybody else. So, you know, everyone is collectively beating the living daylights out of Lake Okeechobee. But we're fishermen. We're still gonna fish. We're still gonna give it hell. But basically today, I'm gonna go to Okeechobee. I'm gonna go to the south end. Gets dark around 7-ish. So we're gonna have about 4-something hours to put something together. It is September. Currently, air temp is about 94 degrees. Got a little bit of clouds, got a little bit of sun. Looks like there's a little bit of rain in the horizon. I don't know if we're gonna get affected by that. Doesn't look like there's much wind today. It's October 1st. Does not feel like October by any stretch. But we're gonna try and put something together today. We're gonna try and figure out the bite. There was a tournament out of Clewiston the other weekend. It was the Refuse to Sink. Tournament was actually won down south. So that's promising. And then I heard a couple days later, they were spraying the crap out of where the tournament was just won. So, you know, what little knowledge we do have of where, yes, last weekend's tournament was won, it's basically a wash because it just got the crap sprayed out of it. So, you know, are we gonna pay attention to that spot? Yeah, we're gonna run by, see how it looks. Maybe fish there for a little bit. Not gonna lie, we're just fun fishing here. But at the same time, I have a couple ideas of what I think the fish are doing. I know what the fish were doing last weekend on a different part of the lake 30 miles away. And I think that can translate to, you know, the South Bay, Pelican, Kramer, Ritta area. So I'm gonna get what I learned in a different part of the lake. I'm gonna try and transfer it to the south end of the lake and see if we can't put something together. And just to make, I mean, I kind of put it in the ABA article that they made about the tournament, but basically I was fishing areas where the fish spawn. The fish were not spawning though. They might have been staging somewhere. I think that's probably how Gary caught them. They were staging up somewhere. But what I was doing is I was fishing the direct areas where these fish are going to come into and spawn, and kind of fishing them almost the same way. You know, I was dragging a Gambler Fat Ace around cattails, and I was also flipping cattails. Cattails and a little bit of mats seemed to be where the fish were. So, you know, like I said, besides Gary completely blowing the tournament out by 11 pounds, it was fairly close between me and Brad. Brad had a 22 and an 18-pound bag, and I had a 20 and a 17-pound bag. My bag was pretty scrappy. Sounds like Brad's bag was a little scrappy. He just had 25 pounds this couple days ago. So if I had to guess, the fish are still kind of doing what they were doing before. So basically we're fishing around spawning areas, kind of fishing in a spawning style, but not really. Like, the fish are relating to the cattails, but they're not spawning on the cattails. And I've seen this happen before in the past in September, and considering it's October 1st and it's still pretty hot, we could still pretty much consider today like a mid-September day, late September day. So we're gonna get out there. Like I said, I don't even know what the south end's gonna look like, but we're gonna fish around. We're gonna give it a shot. I think flipping, I think dragging a worm around reeds, I think a poppin' frog could all be major players. We get a little bit of wind, I might break out the chatterbait, but we're just gonna go fishing today. And basically I'm gonna try and show you guys like how I attack the lake. I still have a preconceived notion of kind of what's going on, but I don't have my hands. I haven't been out here. I haven't been hands-on the south end of the lake, so I don't know exactly what is going on. So we're gonna do it the only way that we could possibly do it. We're gonna put a rod in our hands, and we're gonna go fishing. So stay tuned, guys. Could be a good day, could be a total bust, but this video is gonna get made, and you're gonna see. Do we struggle or do we prosper? Oh, and by the way, guys, I offer guide trips that we can do whatever you want. Like, if you want to hop in the boat with me and see how I would have, like, if you say, hey, I want to fish from the river to J&S, or the river to Harney Pond, or Harney Pond to Clewiston, or Clewiston to South Bay. I want to fish that region of the lake, but I want you to lead the way and show me how you would approach it. We can do that. That's, you know, I'm offering those kind of trips. I really like, you know, I love fishing, but I really love teaching people about fishing. So, you know, if you want to do that, that is 100% on the table. But we're coming down the old famous Slim's Road, so let's get out there and do this thing. All right, guys. South Bay is looking desolate, and there's a snake on top of the water. Look at him. Just stuck his neck out. He's like, hey, what are you doing? Water clarity, I mean, everything's relative, but kind of dirty, but it's fishable. Okeechobee, you got to kind of realize when you get out here, there's a difference between muddy and fishable stain. And that's all changed over the last couple of years. You know, when we first started fishing the lake, when I first started in 2014, muddy water very seldom held fish. And when it did, I mean, there's shad busting right here. When it did, it was very close to a spawning area or a pre-spawn area, and it had a bunch of bait in it. That's the thing. Back then, if you had muddy water and you had bait, and it was close enough to clear water, they were in there. Especially down here, like you get on the edge of the hay fields by the blowouts and stuff, and you had a hard northeast wind coming in for a like pre-frontal or even post-frontal. They had all that bait stacked in that muddy water, they were there. And a lot of people didn't realize that for a while, and that was kind of a great way that I could catch fish in tournaments. It's kind of changed now. You know, if that northeast wind comes, that muddy water comes, it's pretty much everywhere. Right now, and here's the thing, I don't know if it's possible to see this with the camera, but like right now, the water's brown. I don't know if you can see it, but it's brown, but it's got clarity to it, if that makes sense. See how you could still see, you know, you could still see my stick worm. It's not muddy as in, I'm trying to explain this the best way I can. It's not muddy as in it's got mud and all this particulates in the water. That they don't like. This is more of, it's just darker, dingier, browner water. The color's brown, but the clarity itself is actually pretty clean, which to me is ideal. Honestly, in these sunny, flat conditions, you kind of want to be in a little bit dirtier water. If we want to go to the history book a little bit, This is so off topic, but 2009 Bassmaster Classic, Skeeter East, Red River. He had two different areas, very close to each other. One was muddy, and the other was clean. He would go to the muddy water area when it was sunny, bright, fair conditions. And he would go to the clear water when it was cloudy, overcast, when the conditions favored the watercolor. Because he had good quality fish in both areas, but he would go to the area that the conditions favored the best. And honestly, right now, you know, here's the thing, you have to be able to read the water for what it is. You can't be like, oh man, town 25 years ago, she ought to be hydrilla and this and that. Forget about that. The fish have to live where they're at right now, what they have presented with them. Right now, I'm at the mouth of Boy Scout Cut. You can see there's a little bit of wind current coming in, northeast wind. And look, right here we got a big point, got some scattered cattails, and right behind me, big spawning area. Is there much for them to spawn on realistically? There's actually a decent bit. You're thinking, but it's the water's 86 degrees. They're not going to be spawning. No, but they're thinking about it, because this time of year, they're used to doing that deal, and they're thinking about it, and they might just be getting set up to do it. But just because they're not doing it just doesn't mean they're not there. You're gonna have to fish from a little bit different. You can actually fish from a little bit faster, and you have to be aware that these spots are going to reload, you know, super great. A spot that I fished last weekend was a little bay where they spawn in, caught about 6 or 7 fish in there, went back the next day, caught 1 fish. These spots aren't reloading unless a bunch of bait comes in, so you just got to fish for what it is. We're kind of drifting some reeds right now. I'm going to hook this camera back up, and we're going to get to it. All right, so actually was it? Gonna fish these reeds, but I'm gonna throw a cast over there anyways. So one thing I'm gonna do when I'm coming up to this stuff is I got like an isolated reed right here, just like one little tiny little stick up. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw my stickworm at that. I actually kind of missed a little bit there. Kind of put it right on it. Like you guys probably thinking, we're not spawning right now. Could be, probably not. But here's the thing. It is middle of the day. It is tough. And what better bait to present to a tough, you know, to a fish in a tough mood than a stickworm. So kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Picking up a little bit of mud there. I'm actually going to go ahead and go, we're going straight for a jig. This is a Gambler double weed guard, black and blue jig, 3/4 ounce. Just kind of go, trying to exploit the flipping bite. Because another deal, when it's tough, you got to put it right on these fish's head. No way. So actually flipping that cattail, I got stuck, and I went to pop it out, and I seen like a 1 or 2 pounder just take a shot at it. The thing is, I'm actually hearing some bait and stuff pop around, so these fish may not be as inactive as I think they are. I mean, I was basically swimming that jig when I was popping it, so that was very interesting. Alright guys, we're coming up to this hard line here now, so I'm just going to go ahead. When I say hard line, it's a hard washed in, you know, this line of junk, cattails, penny wart, all kinds of stuff kind of washed into this wall. I'm just going to punch it with 1.5 ounces and a burner crawl. basically I got the worm, I got the jig, I got a 3/4 ounce on a burner crawl, I got 1.5 ounces on a burner crawl. I'm just kind of gonna fish what's in front of me right now. Think about September, October. Something about those fish they really want, really in a flipping mood or flipping mode. It's usually a product of this water coming up and pushing them out of, you know, they're more main lake stuff, like your outer reed lines, the midway reed lines. They really tend to follow that water this time of year. Not all of them, but a lot of them. It's usually, and it usually lends itself to some pretty tough fishing this time of year, because it does, this high water coming up fast kind of does scatter them out a little bit. There are times and instances where they'll get kind of grouped up, but right now they're more, for the most part, they're pretty scattered. But you put your head down and grind, you can run into some fish. So we're gonna follow this line here for a little bit and just go flipping and just see what happens, you know. Don't know. And sometimes they can get on really specific stuff. Sometimes they might want to be on the hyacinth or the pennywort or the matted up cattails. Sometimes they're on the points. Sometimes they're on the little ducks. Sometimes you just gotta go, and there isn't a whole big rhyme or reason to what they're doing. There's always some kind of a rhyme or reason to what the fish are doing, but sometimes it's really hard to put together. But the only way to do it is put your head down, pick up a rod, and just go. Alright guys, we fished a decent little bit without a bite. I'm just gonna pull a trolling motor. We're gonna move somewhere else. One thing I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm seeing a lot of tilapias, and typically I learned this from actually an FWC biologist, and shortly thereafter I saw it for myself, is tilapias will run bass out of an area. I mean, you're in an area thick with tilapias like I've been seeing them everywhere. I've been hitting them with my jig and everything. The bass don't want to be around them. They're just a big inconvenience to fit the bass, and if they're spawning, they get really territorial. The tilapia do, and they'll hit the bass, and they'll actually try and bite their eyes out. One time I got in an area that was really thick with tilapias, but there was a lot of bait, and I kind of got out there, started firing a trap. I caught a 5-pounder, and it had one of its eyes missing, and it looked pretty fresh. And we're around an area with a lot of tilapias, so that confirmed that. And right now I'm just getting tons of just signs of tilapia. They're everywhere. So we're gonna get out of here, hopefully get somewhere where there's not tilapias, and try and catch a bass. All right, so guys, here's a big deal, and this fish's teeth are sharp. He's probably been feeding on shad. God, he wasn't coming off. Flat belly fish, which is pretty typical for this time of year. But I mean, his teeth right now are super sharp. Fish is in good shape. So one thing that I want to pay attention to, that we need to pay attention to, is I'm on this straight hard line, and there's a little pocket or a little bay back here, whatever you want to call it, an opening if you will, and I caught that fish right on the point. So right now the information that I have to go with is I got bit at the mouth of a little bay out of a mat. So that tells me a couple things. Either the fish want to be in this bay, and this is just one of the first fish I'm going to get, one of the first bites I'm going to get going into this bay, or the fish want to be at the mouth of the bays. The other thing is my technique really important? I just obviously got bit flipping, punching through that mat, but could I get bit out of that cattail? If there's cattails at the mouth of this, would I get bit out of those? Not too sure yet, but I do know you got to bite at the mouth. Could be the area, could be a mouth deal, could be a punching deal, but usually the technique comes second to the location. Location's usually the most important part. But there's actually there's a cattail right there on the point. I'm actually gonna pick up my my 3/4 ounce. I'm gonna flip it right out of that cattail. Usually this time of year is probably gonna be a little bit of a grind. Probably can't sit here and pop 2 or 3 out of one mat, but we're gonna try. Short bite. There's a lot of brim and small cichlids around. Gambler frog, baby. Oh, that's a good one. All right. See, her lips are smooth. Probably a brim eater. Oh yeah, look at that. Gambler, popping frog. Got her down deep. It's about a 4.5. Freaking crushed it, dude. Man, I've been hearing. I've been hearing brim popping back here. I'm seeing these. I'm seeing the cichlids just like that far into the water, just kind of hanging around. I've had them popping at my frog. I figured it's probably worth keeping this in my hand because I'm hearing bass blow these things up everywhere, like back in the cattails on the edge, everywhere, or back in the mats. And I figured to lock this frog in my hand for a minute, and maybe one of them blow-ups can be on my frog, and that's exactly what we just did. I kind of want to explore back here, but it's kind of still dead water. I noticed on the way in here, there's a little bit of water movement because we got a northeast wind, got some water getting pushed into this side of the lake. And the thing is, this trail, it's hot. This trail just keeps going and it intersects with different parts. So right now we got water coming in. There's just a little bit of water movement, just a little bit of current. And maybe those fish will be more willing to eat than those fish back there in that still water. I have no doubt that I could probably go back there and get bit. I mean, I'm seeing stuff happen right now, but I mean, I just had one come out of that mat and eat the frog, so I think I'm gonna keep going down this way. Also, while we're in the trail, it does split that way and it splits this way. And what we have here is bottleneck, so that's 2 bites. Both the fish have come out of mats. One caught punching, one's on a frog, so and on a bottleneck. So Again, could be a coincidence. It's also a matter of, that's an area that's going to concentrate those fish. You know, there's probably fish all throughout this area, but your higher percentage casts are going to be right there on that point. Could we slow down and flip every inch of this and catch fish in the middle in between? Absolutely. But right now we're on a limited time. It's 4 o'clock. And I see brim popping back there. I'm going to lock the frog in my hand for a little bit longer. I think that's what the biggest bite of the day has come on. 7'3" royal flush. This is the one of the original royal flushes, and put the meat to that one. Sucker took it away from me. Well, that was freaking crazy. Oh my God. I think he's still on there. Oh my God. Yeah. God, it's not even a giant. You're 3.5. Gambler popping frog down the hatch. Dude, yeah, I didn't get her that good. Oh my God, I fired it way back in that little pocket and went. She went kaboosh, and the second I stuck her, she was sort of skyrocketing, like tail walking into the slop, and then I got her pulled in. She got me stuck in the reed. It's almost a 4-pounder. 3.5. Good fish. Oh, I love it. I wish the camera would have got that, but it was to the point where if I lost it, I'm like, I don't care. That was just freaking cool. Jeez. All right, let's take a sip of water and keep going. That was fun. Let's go. Look at these. Gosh, turn my stuff off again. These fish are in good, dude. I'm in a foot of water, and every time I hit the trolling motor, just freaking bubbles everywhere. Like, that fish is in great shape, dude. He's got a flat belly because it's hot out, and his metabolism's up. I mean, that's another 3-pounder. It's not a bad day. Granted, it is late in the afternoon, and we are in a little bit of an evening bite, but still, we're around them. Okay. Okay.
Some ideas and insights that will come to you in the form of pictures and inspiration from the university.
There's another. God. I mean, they're just getting that thing. I can't even get it out. Do like another 3-pounder. Got 15 pounds today easily. 15, 16 of that little bit bigger one. All right, one more, we'll take her to the house.